Today we bring you a new challenge. You will have 10 seconds to get the soccer players from their club, team, nationality. Let's get started.
The answer is Lionel Messi. Guess the next player. The answer is Mohamed Salah. Guess the next player. The answer is Paul Pogba. Guess the next player. The answer is Sergio Ramos. Guess the next player.
The answer is Erling Haaland.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Harry Kane.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Kevin De Bruyne. The answer is Lewandowski. The answer is Virgil van Dijk.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Neymar.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Thiago Silva.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Marcos Llorente.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Sadio Mane.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Alfonso.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Kyle Walker. The answer is Vinicius.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Gabriel Jesus.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Fabian Ruiz.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Thomas.
Guess the next player. Guess the next player.
The answer is Kante.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Marcelo.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Sun Heung-min. The answer is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Marcus Rashford.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Luis Suarez.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Memphis Depay.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Thibaut Courtois.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Hakim Ziyech.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Riyad Mahrez.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Luka Modric.
Guess the next player.
The answer is David Alaba.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Andrew Robertson.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Bruno Fernandes.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Thiago Alcantara.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Joshua Kimmich. The answer is Zlatan Ibrahimovic. The answer is Jan Oblak.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Edouard Mendy.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Gianluigi Donnarumma.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Pedri.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Lorenzo Insigne.
Guess the next player.
The answer is Yuri Tieleman.